Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on in the stock market? Well, the stock market is the S&P trying to make new highs every day, the NASDAQ trying to make new highs every day. These are both well above the 20-day moving average. But the thing is, the Dow Jones is not above the 20-day moving average. The Russell is not above the 20-day moving average. They're below the 20-day moving average. Now, why is that? Well, NVIDIA is not in those indexes. NVIDIA is in the S&P and it's in the QQQs, right? NVIDIA is pushing the market. Microsoft, Apple, very few stocks pushing it to new record highs, new record highs, new record highs. Now, I do think we're getting close to a top. We'll see if that plays out. Maybe we just keep pushing higher. Is it time to short yet? No, it's not. Not until we get below the 20-day moving average. As long as we stay above the 20-day, we're going to keep moving up in the QQQs and the SPY. But right now, it's starting to look like a topping pattern to me. Yeah, maybe they want to push that Dow back up to 40,000. We'll see if they can do it. But maybe that 40,000 was the top, and now we're coming in. We'll see how that plays out over time. All right, so you listen to mainstream media. If you still watch mainstream media, they're telling you everything's great. Look at the stock market. Look at the stock. Look how good things are. What they're not telling you is that job losses are up. Bankruptcies are up. Crime is up. Suicide is up. Homelessness is up. Debt up, right? Debt, corporate debt, record high. Credit card debt, record high. Government and state debt, record highs, right? Well, I don't know. You see, it's kind of like they're trying to, well, it's almost like they're trying to hurt us. The people in charge are trying to destroy us. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but it seems like they are. They tell us everything's great, right? But yet this economy, the economy works for rich people. Rich people are getting more and more wealthy. Why? Well, because of that printing of money, right? You print all that money and their assets continue to go up. What about the poor people that don't have all those assets? Well, they're getting destroyed. You see, it seems like they're trying to destroy us. Now, here's a question for you. Layoffs. Layoffs are surging right now. Okay, they're spiking up. Now, will layoffs cause a recession? Are we already in a recession that is causing all of these layoffs? That's the question I want you to give me an answer to. Will the layoffs cause the recession, or do you think we're in a recession right now and that's what's causing the layoffs? Is that what's causing the bankruptcies? We got a surge in bankruptcies, corporate bankruptcies. Now, these are businesses that are like over $50 million in liability. They're going out of business at a record clip right now. Why is that? Well, you see, you have what's called zombie companies. Now, zombie companies in the S&P 500, 20% of the companies, 100 of the 500 companies, 20% cannot bring in enough cash flow to pay the interest on their debt, and therefore they're a zombie company. You see what a recession does? It flushes out the bad investments, right? It flushes out these bad investments. So we got record layoffs, we got record bankruptcies. Now, my take is that this is going to crack the real estate market. It's going to break. It's going to break the housing market. Look, if you don't have a job, yes, you're locked in at 2.8%, but it's not going to matter. You can't make the payment. You can't refi because you go from 2.8 to 7.5. What do? You put the house on the market. You see, I think that layoffs, I think that bankruptcies are going to break the real estate market. I think the break is going to be epic. I think it's going to be an epic break. And I think that break is also going to happen in the stock market. I think when it happens, nobody knows for sure. There's people out there calling for the stock market to double from here. We're going to double from here. But here's the thing. Okay, let me tell you what I do know about bubbles. Bubbles, right? Okay, stock market bubbles. Okay, so you go back to 1925 to 1929. That was a 5-year period there where we had this big bubble. Now, what happened in 1929? you had the stock market crash, the Great Depression started, but it was preceded by the big bubble. Now we're in the biggest bubble in the history of the world. I mean, it's going to pop at some point. Now from 1994 to 2000, you had that kind of that dot-com thing going, right? You had that dot-com bubble. It lasted 6 years, but what happened to the dot-com market, right? NASDAQ went up to 5,000 and it crashed about 80%, let's call it, somewhere around there, down to about 1,400, maybe not quite 80%, 70%, but it crashed, right? It doesn't end well. So now what we've got is the biggest bubble in the history of the world going on right now, right? 15 years this bubble's been just inflating, right? And what have we done in those 15 years? We printed 27 trillion more dollars in debt. Now, when I was young, I used to think there's no such thing as a free lunch, but all these economists now telling me we can have a free lunch forever. We were stupid back then. We didn't print enough money back then. Obviously, printing money has solved all the problems. It doesn't matter how much debt we get, 35 trillion now, 70 trillion later, but we've been doing this for 15 years. This is an artificial bubble, the biggest in the history of the world. And the bubble's in the stock market, the bubble's in the real estate market, the bubble's really in the debt market. I mean, people have just gone and taken out so much debt, so much debt, so much debt. But this is coming to an end, and I think that these bubbles will pop. Now, this is my take. Now, I say it's just common sense. If you got a little common sense, you know that this is not sustainable just to print your way to prosperity, to print your way to wealth, right? Okay, I mean, some people think that it is possible, but really, what's happening now? If you bought a home just in the last couple of years, right? I mean, you paid 7.5%, maybe even 8%, right? And so you're kind of strapped for cash. But what's happening? You got this thing called inflation, and inflation's wearing you down. So you were told that your home's going to go up and that the rates are going to come down. You can refinance because you're going to have all this equity. Well, homes haven't gone up in the last 2 years. In real terms, they've actually come down because we've had, inflation bringing them down, 10%. So in real terms, the price of homes have come down. Now, I agree, nominal terms kind of been flat. But you see, the homeowner, he's getting kind of under this burden, under this stress of inflation. See, what's going up? Well, his taxes, his property taxes, right? What else is going up? His insurance, if he can even get insurance. Insurance companies are using anything they can to cancel an insurance policy. I just talked to my buddy at church, and his neighbor's got this big tree, right? So the insurance company sent him a letter. You're being canceled until you remove the big tree. You know what it costs to remove this big tree? It's going to cost them about 20 grand just to get the tree out. Apparently, it's a pretty big tree. But anyways, he can't sell the property until he gets the tree out because nobody can get insurance to buy his house. He wants to move out of the area, and he'll pull this off. He's going to take the tree down. Maybe he finds a deal where someone removes the tree for 10 or 15,000. Let's hope he does. But insurance companies will drop you if they find any reason to drop you. I mean, it's really crazy out there, right? So insurance prices are going up, utility bills are going up, maintenance costs is going up. So the burden has become on the homeowner. Okay, so anyways, homeowners are under a lot of stress, but we got this big bubble, right? This big bubble. And I want to talk a little bit about this bubble here for a moment. Now, okay, if you go back now, look, I'm an old guy, I'll tell you that. Okay, now back in the 60s, right? The 60s, oh my God, you are old. Well, I was a young kid in the 60s, but I remember when we'd go fill up with gasoline in the car, right? We had these gas stations that were coin operated. Okay, you'd put the quarter in the coin slot and a gallon of gas would pump out, right? And this is in the 60s, right? Okay, so that same quarter, if it's before 1964, could still get you a gallon of gas today, right? I mean, about $5 or $6 you could sell that quarter for, and you could go buy a gallon of gas because those quarters were real money. They were the coin of the realm, if you will. The coin of the realm means the coin of the country you're in. And the coin of the realm has real money. It was made of silver, and you could go and sell that silver quarter if you still had one before 1964. After 1964, they took all the silver out of the coins, right? But if you have one that's minted before 1964, you could go and sell that quarter for a coin shop for about $6 and go and pump yourself a gallon of gas. Very fascinating to me, right? Well, here's the other thing. Okay, this is really fascinating. Okay, so let's go back to, right around 1964 we're talking about. What did the average price home sell for in the United States in 1964? Very fascinating. Sold for about $18,000. $18,000. That's interesting. Okay, what's it sell for today? The average price home. A little over 400. Let's just call it 400 for lack of a better word. Okay, $400,000. Now, if you had paid for it in cash at basically you paid cash for your home, $18,000 back in 64, and today you could sell it for $400,000. Well, that's great, right? Okay, so you made all these profits, right? But you really made these profits in paper terms. Okay, paper terms being currency, right? Now, if you had just taken that $18,000 in the coin of the realm, which would be any dimes, quarters, half dollars, silver dollars, and you had $18,000 in, you just put that away, you could take that silver and buy the average price home today. So the average price home today still cost you $18,000 worth of constitutional silver is another name for it. The coin of the realm, constitutional silver. If you had $18,000 worth of constitutional silver, you could go and cash that in. It'd be approximately right around $400,000, maybe a little bit over. So did the home really go up from $18,000 to $400,000, or is it just that the price of money has just gone down and down and down? You see, they're trying to destroy us. Somebody's trying to destroy us. Now, I know who it is. I'll give you a hint. It's the Federal Reserve. Look, they're the ones that are destroying the purchasing power. They're going to continue to destroy the purchasing power until the Great Reset comes, when they reset everything. And things will reset, and we'll go back to God's money, the gold and silver. It's worked for 5,000 years. It's still here. It's not going anywhere, and that will be the new money. But Mike, there's Bitcoin out there, and maybe that'll be the next money, but I'll take my chances on the gold and silver. My point is, it's very fascinating. You have a quarter, you could trade the quarter in and buy a gallon of gas today from 1964. If you had 18,000 in constitutional silver, you could trade that in today and buy the average price home. So the average price home still at 18,000. You just have to have the real money, the silver, to buy the home, right? Okay, so did homes really go up? Now, are they going to continue to go up? Now, I say they're going to come crashing down. I say the crash is going to be epic. Only about 40% I'm calling for. Many people are calling for 80 or 90% in the stock market and 60 or 70% in houses. It's going to be ugly when it happens. People have no idea what's coming. Me and you, we got a little bit of idea. People think I'm a joke. People think I'm just a crazy old guy, and I'm quite fine with that, really. It's kind of flattering, I'm funny. I make these jokes about how houses are going to come down in price. Well, I think they're going to, right? Okay, but the thing is, if you protect yourself, I say at one time you're going to have 500 ounces of silver. This will overshoot up and down. Now, back in 1980, it took 800 ounces of silver to trade for the average price home. I think this time it's going to only be 500 ounces of silver when this comes crashing down. That's just my take. Gold, I'd still say the whole city block will be for sale. 25 ounces. A house, probably about a half an ounce to an ounce of gold. You can buy the average price home. When this all plays out, nobody knows exactly when it's going to play out. Do I think it's going to happen in my lifetime? Heck, I think it's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, but that's just my take. I could be wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't want to see the world like that. Everybody in another greater depression, great depression. But I think we're headed that direction right now. Job losses, bankruptcy, crime, suicide, homelessness, debt, all just skyrocketing right now. But these are the best of times, Tall Mike. Just listen to the mainstream media and you have nothing to worry about. Stop watching those YouTube guys. They don't know what they're talking about. Even you, Tall Mike, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, that could be right. I hope I'm wrong. Okay, that's all I got today. Give me the thumbs up if you like this stuff. Get out there, everybody. Punch the subscribe button and have a great day. Bye-bye now.